Hello, welcome to another podcast episode of How to Run Profitable Retreats. I'm your host, Lainey Cavazos, and today I bring you a piece of this wonderful networking event hosted by Via Zara. If you have not heard of them, go check them out. This is a community of retreat leaders, people who want to attend retreats and retreat centers looking to create deeper connections. I am so excited to share with you the tactics on how to get a sold out retreat. Go and listen in. You are in for a treat. See you next time.
Is the opportunity for yourself, right? To just be, and I'm going to pin myself just so I can see all of you in a little bit in a different way. But for me, this is so important in this space that I understand how being on the table with the right people is so powerful, right? Getting that seat on the table makes such a huge difference for your business, your growth. Because let's be honest, it's easier when we all grow together. It's also more fun, right? We get to meet other amazing people out there in the world. And I truly am a big believer that there is no competition because we are unique in our own ways. And the expertise that we bring to the table, the stories that we get to share, can never be done the same way by anyone else. So even if you're chatting with someone who does something very, very similar to you, right? So let's think about me when I get in the room with other retreat coaches. We do things differently. We have a focus that's slightly different. And then we can all help each other. So this is so powerful. So thank you so much for being here. And Daryl, I don't know, we have some answers for the poll. Maybe you want to share those so we can see a little bit about where we are at. Oh, I can see there. Okay, yes, thank you. All right, so here we are. So, and this also helps me tailor the training for the people in the room, right? So it makes more sense for everyone. So I can see here that we have a 36% of the people here are beginners who've hosted between 1 to 3 retreats. And I'll be asking some more questions as we go through the process to understand more, where are you at? Then we have 17% that has hosted 3 to 10 retreats, 19% that has hosted more than 10 retreats. Absolutely amazing, right? And then we have 28% of the people who are aspiring. You're not yet leading, but you're interested. This is the place where you want to hang out, yeah? So if you're aspiring to host retreats, this is a place, because look at this. 72% of the people in this room have already hosted retreats. So they have knowledge to share with you. Yeah, so this is so, so beautiful. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about tactics on how to fill your retreats. But I think something that is very important for me to be able to serve you the best way possible is to understand what is the most common way you use to fill your retreats, right? For those of you who have hosted retreats, do you do it on Facebook groups? Do you do it through ads? Do you do it on word of mouth, right? Do you have an email list? What is the main stream of information that you use for people to get into your space and then book your retreats? Okay, so I'm seeing some answers. Let me just go through this. Okay, so we have a yes, Coach Lisa Charles. I love the name, by the way. She has a membership. Okay, Gisela, word of mouth, email list. Robin, intermediate refills from friends and family. Okay, perfect. So word of mouth, email list, right? So this is beautiful. Anyone else that wants to share? At the end of the day, everyone does it different, right? Corporate email proposal. I love this, Nicoletta, right? So you are focusing, I would assume that you are doing B2B retreats, right? So it's a different game. It's a completely different game, just for everyone to know. Okay, reach out to retreat leaders through various Facebook groups and websites. Okay, Harris, amazing. Michelle, posting on social media, then individual conversations with people in your circle, email list and social group for a specific target. All of them, Listopia retreats, love it, right? Allison, email list and help get people added via social media and use my past retreat participant tool. So organic reach outs and personal invites. And Samara, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn mentioning during my events and groups. This is amazing. Okay, so we have more. Thank you for sharing. Email list, referral partner, and word of mouth. And then Delisha, corporate groups, virtual retreats, working with existing coaches who have an audience, right? Sharing audience is such an important tactic for growing your, actually not even growing your business, but scaling your business, right? So this is amazing, right? So, and I know you see retreat planning experts. I love that. Okay. So now that we have all this amazing information here, I want to share some numbers. Yeah. So in the past, from a marketing perspective, you needed 7 touches, right? And the Zoom mirrors my camera, so it feels a little bit weird for me to see the 7. So I'm going to delete this. Okay, so 7 touches for someone to actually buy from you. Nowadays, you need 7 touches for someone to remember you. And for someone to buy from you, between 36 to 52 touches if they do not know you at all. That means people need to see you more and more and more and more for them to buy from you. One of the biggest problems of 2025 businesses is building trust. People are burned out from hiring coaches that do not give them the results, that they promise them the moon and the stars, and then they get dust, right? So building trust in 2025 is one of the key components that you want to add into your business tactics to grow your retreat businesses, your coaching businesses, absolutely everything. Building trust. And the way you build trust is by showing up consistently. So remember, I spoke about these 36 to 52 different touches. They have to be through 4 different channels. Okay, so it's not just they saw me 52 times on Instagram. They saw me on Instagram, they saw me on Facebook, maybe they saw me on LinkedIn, they saw me on my email list, right? Different channels of communication. That builds authority, right? Those days from someone just having a massive following on Instagram and selling everything are diluting, right? It still works for some people. I'm not going to say it doesn't, but it's diluting because people need touches in different places, right? So think about it when you want to buy yourself a beautiful purse. Yeah. And you're thinking about that purse, and then you see someone walking on the street with that purse, and you're like, oh my gosh, I want that. And then you see an ad, and then you talk, and maybe your phone listens, right? And I sometimes tell my phone, I'm looking for this. Can you send me the information? And I get it, right? So then suddenly I'm going to start seeing an ad, and I'm going to see someone wearing it on social media. And then I'm going to get an email from Mark Jacobs saying, hey, by the way, that purse that you already wanted, it's here. Until one day I'm ready to click and buy. That's exactly the same way you need to be running your business. Samara, phone listening creeps me out. I agree. There's bags and boxes now that you can put your phone when you want to have those type of conversations, right? I've had retreats where we've done that, especially business retreats where trade secrets, NDAs happening on the retreats, right? Business retreats very, very much can have those kind of elements. But the reality is that you can use it to your advantage, right? You can ask to start seeing your competitors and see what they're doing differently, right? Okay. So now something also that is mentioned here, and I think Samara, you're the one who mentioned it, it was using actually LinkedIn, and Ron is great on LinkedIn, right? And he's going to be like, as we go more in these sessions, he's going to be talking more about the power of LinkedIn. So this is a beautiful place for you to also explore, because the biggest tactic to get more bookings into your retreats, it's knowing your ideal client like they were your best friend, knowing what they want, knowing how they want it. Because you can know your ideal client and know, oh, this is a problem they want solved and I can solve it. But maybe your retreat is 30 days. And this is a women in corporate that cannot take 30 days off. Are they going to buy your retreat? I don't think so. It's very, very unlikely, right? But maybe you break that retreat into actually 4 different retreats throughout the year. And then they can do that. And then they will get the transformation. And they will have time for integration as we go. So I had one of my guest speakers on my podcast that is called How to Run Profitable Retreats, right? Because I'm all about profitable. And it's one of my biggest pieces that I get super passionate about. And he came and he spoke about it, about corporate retreats specifically, right? So I'm thinking about all of you who are thinking about corporate retreats. And he's like, I do not do a one-off corporate retreat. because they do not get time to actually integrate the learnings. It's kind of putting a Band-Aid on a problem. So you want to think about when you're creating your offerings, right? Your irresistible retreats that the right person wants to show up into, that it's thought through in such a detail that they're like, there's no way I can say no to this. And if I'm saying no to this, it's this time, because maybe something happens. Maybe their kids are getting married that weekend and they can't come. But they will, and then if you create really a marketing strategy that keeps nurturing them, and by that, you need to have them on your email list, yeah? That's the place where you keep nurturing. So when they're ready, the time is right, they will actually sign up. Type a yes in the chat if this sounds good to you. I want to get some feelers. And if it's not, it does not sound right, also say no. I want to hear you. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, this is it. Absolutely. So when we're thinking about marketing, and I'm going to be a little bit technical today, and I don't have that much time to go to many details. So high level overview of this, yeah? When we go into marketing, we need to think of as omni-channel marketing. It's not more about like everyone comes from Facebook and that's my thing. And then from Facebook, I do not even get their emails. I just have a conversation on them on Messenger. And then maybe I write it on my notepad, right? I have my notebook. It says, follow up with this person. And guess what? 3 weeks later, you have not followed up with that person. Systems is the secret. Having a system behind your business. Gone are the days of having a retreat business that it's a hobby. If you want to keep doing retreats in the future and you want to do more than 1 to 3 retreats, there's a couple of things you need to have in your business. One is a system that leads the people inside of your space to actually sign up either to your retreats or your group programs or your one-on-one sessions, however your business looks like, right? There's a funnel inside of your business. And if I'm talking too technical, please let me know and I'll go deeper into the technical terms because I love my lingo. Yeah, but I understand. Sometimes we're like, what the hell is she talking about? A funnel? Like, break it down to me. So right now I'm going to break down the funnel concept. Think about the funnel. It starts bigger. So you have a lot of people who could be your ideal clients, but they need to go into a space when there are, so that's the awareness, right? So I create awareness, customer journey here. People are aware that I exist. Lainey exists in the world. And then it takes you to the space of like, now they're engaging with me. They're going to go and check me out. They're going to be like, do I want to make profit from my retreats? Well, maybe I want to talk to her, but I'm not sure. And maybe they'll consider, and then there's another person next to me. And these people are more like, well, you know what? Let's do it very, very spiritual. And it's okay if you don't make any money. And some people will go with that person, be like, oh my gosh, yes. And then some other people will be like, I want to be doing this in a sustainable way that I can keep doing it for years because I want to change the world. And the only way for me to change the world is actually to have a full bank account so I don't have to go back to my 9-to-5 job. They'll be like, ooh. So they'll go to my website. They'll listen to my podcast. They will get into one of my master classes. And guess what? After then, they might be like, well, maybe I will hire you. So then they'll get in a discovery call. And that's when they consider working with me. That's step 3 of a customer journey. We're going through the funnel, right? So some people are filtered out in my funnel until the moment that actually they say, well, guess what? Yes, Lainey, here is my credit card. I'm paying right now in this moment. That is the conversion. But the customer journey does not end there. Then it's about fulfillment. People come to your retreat. Do you give what you promised? A lot of people out there in the retreat space, because they feel that if they offer more and more and more, that's why people will sign up. And then people come to the retreat and guess what? They're hiding in their rooms. My family owns a retreat center in Mexico, right? So I was just talking about the last retreat that happened. It was a 7-day retreat. Guess what? The promotional materials looked amazing. When people showed up, the teacher was most of the time in her room with the boyfriend. The boyfriend was doing haircuts for people in the room. It's weird, right? Like that is not fulfilling the promise of actually hosting a retreat and holding space for the people coming in. So people have been burned out by retreats and being like, oh my gosh, these people promised me heaven and earth. And then I got some nice friends to get out of here. Yay, right? So fulfillment, big part of your customer journey. The experience, actually making that experience a reality. Because guess what? Loyal customers spend 60% more than non-loyal customers. And this is something that I love to talk about. Loyalty marketing is customer relationship management. And I learned this when I was working for Marriott's corporate office for Middle East and Africa, and I launched Marriott Bonvoy, the loyalty program. Has anyone heard of that loyalty program at some point in your life, or points program when you stay in hotels and the more you stay, the more things you get? Yeah. Okay. So I launched the program for Middle East and Africa, and it was absolutely amazing. And I fell in love with loyalty marketing because guess what? Loyal customers, like I said, spend 67% more than non-loyal customers. So if you have someone in your retreat and you do the fulfillment, they're 67% times more likely to buy from you again and come to one of your retreats. So then forget about having to find so many new customers every time you launch a retreat. See how that's also a tactic on getting people to sign up for your retreats on repeat. You can have a membership, right? Someone mentioned that they have a membership, and that's how they get people into the retreats. That is about fulfillment. It's about integration. And then after the experience happens, right, there's where loyalty marketing retention comes into place. Sometimes it's as easy as offering a call 2 weeks after the retreat to check in on everyone who came. How are you doing? Did you get the results that you were looking for? Was this what you were looking for? How can we improve? Showing people that we care. They're not just a number. Who here, and maybe you can type a yes in the chat because I don't think I can see. Oh, this way I can see everyone. Okay, amazing. So maybe you want to type out, like raise your hands. Let's do it more interactive. Raise your hands if you've been in a corporate job or an office job or something like that. Okay, perfect. I see a lot of hands raised. Who here ever felt that you were just a number in that company? Yeah. Okay. Perfect. This is what we want to change in our businesses, right? We do not want to make people feel that they are seen just as another number in your bank account. Yes, do we want to profit? 100%. Do we want to make money? Yes, because that makes your business sustainable. One of the saddest numbers that I found when I do research for retreat leaders is that 70% of retreats actually do not make a profit. Oh my gosh. I know. I saw Tanvir, his eyes were just like, what? Like what? 70%? Yes, 70%. Because there is a belief that it's a nice thing to add on, it's a nice thing to serve, or we don't know how to run our numbers, right? And suddenly we're like, oh my gosh, I did not budget the flight ticket and I have to pay $1,500 to just get myself there. And I need to get there a few days earlier, so I did not budget for the hotel. And then we're eating out our profits. So I want to ask Daryl if you want to like maybe pop the next poll about all of you who have hosted retreats in the past. And of course, this information is, the poll, so that way it's kind of confidential. So please put your real numbers, right? No one is going to judge you here, but I would love to know, what is your average profit from your retreats? Between 5 and 10K, 10K or plus, or over $25,000 per retreat. And I'm submitting mine because, this is a game that we all play. It's very important to know that the average amount of time, and this is great information for the new people, yeah? The average amount of time that it takes you to actually put your first retreat is 200 hours of work. Yeah, 200 hours of work. Now, if you hire someone like me or other retreat coaches out there, right? that time squeezes into 50 hours. So it's well worth the investment, right? You're thinking about how you can grow and scale your business when you're ready for it, right? Of course. But if you're really doing it on your own at the beginning, and I highly suggest that you do not have to go through that trouble all by yourself, right? You want to think about it. If you're making $10,000 and you split that by the 200 hours that it took you to put out that retreat, you're making $50 per hour. And I would say, could you give me a thumbs down if you do not want to get 50 hours at an hour? Yeah. No way, right? And now that we got the results for the poll, and I'm going to take a screenshot of all of you and this because it's so powerful, I can see that majority of people are in this space between 5 to 10K, 68%. That means you're making $50 an hour or less for your retreat. Does that make like a sound business decision? And I saw a lot of people, a lot of you raising your hands saying that you have a corporate job at some point in your life. If you presented a proposal to your boss saying, hey, I'm going to work for 200 hours and I'm going to make you $10,000, would they say, yes, go for it? Or would they say, maybe go back to the drawing board and bring me another proposal? Right? I always like this experience, this exercise where I put myself in front of myself, right? And I have two chairs and I switch spaces. I like to do things a little bit fun and interactive. And I just present my case to me as my own boss. And then I'm like, does this make business sense? And if I get a yes, go for it, then I go and I do it. And if it's like, go back to the drawing board, I go back to the drawing board. I have a mission to get all of you, if you want to move from these 5 to 10K, that is 16% of the people in this call, to the 9% people who are making over $25,000 per retreat. Who wants to make $25,000 per retreat? And it's easy, yeah, actually. It's not that hard. I see some hands raised. Yay. Okay. Maybe you want to give me a heart in the chat so I can see also there's some people on the other screen that I can't see. So who here wants to make more money from your retreats? And that more money means more transformation, more sustainability, right? It's not just about the money, but with an empowered bank account, you are limitless. You can give money to charity. You can sponsor people to come to your retreats. There's so many things that you can do. And that's just so powerful. Financial freedom allows you to create your wildest dreams into reality. Who agrees with me here? Yes, I see some. Yes. And I'm going to say that it's okay if you don't believe that at some point, and it's fine, right? You might be like, oh my gosh, this lady is a little bit crazy. $25,000. How could I? I invite you to go and do a test out there in with your audience. Sell the same thing for $500 and for $5,000. And you come back and you tell me that you did not speak to the same amount of people to sell the same offer. I do this once a year. It's market research. It's an expense, right? Because I am dropping my prices 10 times. And every single time I talk to the same amount of people, get the same amount of clients, just 10% of the income.
That's a very, very insightful. Very
yeah. So I'm going to wrap this up because we have so many more things to do, right? So I want to thank you all. And I want to leave you with 3 main things, 3 learnings out of this, right? So multi-channel marketing. Go and find other places where you can promote your retreat. So if you have 1 place, go find 3 more. Just start slow, right? Don't go crazy. Number 2, go back and review your profit numbers for your retreat, because you might as well get 4 people than 10 people and make the same amount of money. Yeah. And then number 3, remember that you are here to transform and change the world. You are change makers. You deserve a seat on the table. Anyway, thank you so much for this. I would love to hear your comments on the chat about what you felt about this conversation. Was it useful? Did you find something that was interesting for you? And thank you so much for listening. Wow, what a great episode. If you like our podcast, How to Run Profitable Retreats, leave us a review and share it with a friend.